Hey everybody, today we're going to start talking about the digestive system, shown here perfectly, anatomically correctly, in a cartoon by the Awkward Yeti. So we're going to work our way through this digestive system, starting first with an overview of the functions and the basic anatomy, and then we're going to get into each part of it and the gross and histolic anatomy of each part of it. So let's start with the functions. The first thing is ingestion, just bringing food into the body. Digestion is breaking that food down into small structures and large molecules, and then smaller molecules so that it can get into the bloodstream of the body. There's two ways we do digestion. Mechanical digestion is a physical breakdown, and that's done by the teeth and the tongue, obviously in the mouth, but also by muscles in the digestive system. We'll talk about that. And then chemical digestion is the breakdown using enzymes and other molecules that break large molecules into small molecules. So first, mechanical digestion has to get the big pieces of food into small pieces of food, and then enzymes can work on those smaller pieces to break down the molecules. Propulsion means moving the food forward through the system, and there's two ways that propulsion happens. The main propulsion is called peristalsis, and this is the rhythmic formation of ripples along the tube. I'm going to make sure I don't have my sound on for this video because it's terrible. So this is a video of peristalsis in the esophagus. And what you're going to see is a wave of contraction. First, we're going to see a wave of relaxation. You can see these muscles going farther and farther away from us relax. And then you see this coming. This is a contraction that is going to move away from us as well. So think of this contraction as like squeezing the tube through toothpaste. And as these contractions move along through the esophagus, the bolus, which is the moist ball of food that you swallow, gets pushed along as well. And the same peristalsis is going to happen throughout the digestive system. Now, another kind of movement that happens in the GI tract is called segmentation. And segmentation is a churning and mixing of the material. So rather than just pushing one thing along, segmentation is going to have contractions that go in both directions to, first of all, mix material and also break it into smaller pieces. So this is going to be part of mechanical digestion in that it's breaking up pieces into smaller pieces with these rhythmic muscular contractions, but also it's going to promote chemical digestion because it's going to mix the food with the secretions or the enzymes within the tract. So that's propulsion. That's one of the functions of the GI tract. So we got ingestion, digestion, propulsion. Next up, secretion. Secretion is the production and release of mucin, which becomes mucus, and other fluids that aid in digestion. Secretion is going to happen into the lumen. So, for example, in the stomach, you're going to secrete acid into the stomach, into the lumen of the stomach to help kill pathogens and start breakdown of molecules. Then the next thing that happens is absorption. That's from the lumen into the bloodstream. So this is all the small molecules that have been broken down into pieces small enough to be absorbed. They're going to get absorbed across the lumen into the bloodstream. And then finally, the last function of the GI tract is elimination, which is getting rid of waste. So let's look very quickly at the GI tract overall. The GI tract is the gastrointestinal tract, also called the digestive tract or the alimentary canal. This is the path that the food actually passes through, and it's made up of a number of digestive organs who actually do the digestion. So the GI tract starts in the mouth at the oral cavity, continues to the esophagus, into the stomach, from the stomach to the small intestine, from the small intestine to the large intestine, and then finally through the rectum where waste is stored until it is removed from the body through the anus. Now, along with the digestive organs, oh, please, I forgot. I do want to recommend this book, Gulp, by Mary Roach, which is a Adventures on the Alimentary Canal is the subhead. It is an absolutely brilliant book about your digestive system and things that can go wrong with your digestive system. And it's absolutely fascinating and amazing and hilarious. So I really recommend that. All right, but moving on, let's talk about the accessory digestive organs. These are the structures that are going to help the actual GI tract do its job. These are not actually part of the gastrointestinal tract. They're not part of this tube that runs through the body. They develop as outgrowths and they're connected to it. So they start out with the salivary glands up here around the mouth. The teeth and the tongue, although they are, around the pathway, they're not actually part of the tube, so they count as accessory. The liver, we're going to talk about the role that it has in digestion. It makes bile. The gallbladder is going to store that bile, and then the pancreas makes a lot of digestive enzymes, beautifully called the pancreatic juices. I know, great name, right? So these are the accessory digestive organs. So let's review before we end this. We've got the organs themselves, starting with the oral cavity where we do ingestion and the start of mechanical and actually chemical digestion. We'll talk about that in a moment. The pharynx is where you swallow. The esophagus is in charge of propulsion, moving the food down to the stomach, which is going to do digestion and secretion. And then the small intestine and the large intestine that do propulsion, digestion, secretion, and absorption. And we'll talk about how different parts of these organs do more or less of each of these. And then, of course, the rectum and the anus for elimination. And then the accessory digestive glands are all going to assist with these functions by the digestive organs. And we'll stop there. And in the next one, we're going to start looking at the specific parts and learning about all the different parts of the gastrointestinal tract.